Welcome. In front of me is a Nokia C12, and today I'll go over unboxing along with a quick overview of this phone. Without further ado, let's just pop it open. There we go. On the front we have our device. Pretty light, so I assume the battery allows us to take out the battery. And yep, I am correct. Come on, give me the battery. There we go. So here's our removable battery, and we got a bunch of paperwork. Our charging cable. Unfortunately, this is a micro USB, which is a big oof. I got an L somewhere here, just for Nokia for this. It's a big L here. And world's cheapest feeling charger. This is a 5 watts. They might have not included even a charger in the box, because you can plug it into your any run-of-the-mill USB on your computer and it will charge it just as quick as this charger. So this is absolute garbage. So let's pop in the battery. There we go. Okay, so now that the battery's in and the phone is turning on, I'm going to quickly start off with the display right here, which is a 6.3 inch display with a resolution of 720 by 1600. It's an LCD IPS display with 80.3% screen to body ratio and 278 pixels per inch, putting it at, well, obviously the low end devices. So the resolution and type of the display along with the screen to body ratio are pretty low and pixels per inch. Now, with that being said, this device is like one of the more budget devices, coming at about 130 euros, or apparently a little cent below 100 pounds. So it is on a super budget. Now, with that being said, we get a 3000 mAh battery in here and a Unisoc SC9863A1 processor. I'll be completely honest, I have no clue how good this processor is, but judging by the price range, not good at all. Obviously, it's going to be a budget processor, and it will perform as such. Now, in terms of storage in here, we have two variants, which I believe were... No, never mind, doesn't say on the box. But we have a 64 gigs of storage with 2 gigs of RAM, or 64 gigs of storage with 3 gigs of RAM. When buying this device, I do recommend at least going for the 3 gigs of RAM. Both of them are pretty low, but 3 will give you at least just some modicum of headroom. So I recommend going for the 3 gigs. It will probably cost you like $10 more, give or take. But I would argue that this is if you really want like a budget device like this one, this will give you some difference in terms of how the device performs. So it will be a worth add-on in terms of like the price to what you get. And unfortunately, this is also one of those things that if you buy the 2 GB RAM version, you cannot upgrade it later on down the line on this device, like you could with the storage by just popping in a SD card. Now, with the cameras in here, the main shooter is a 8 megapixel sensor, and then at the front as a selfie is a 5 megapixel. So nothing really special right here. And Worth mentioning things, we do have a headphone jack right at the top, as you can see. Volume rockers on our right side and nothing on the left side. And at the bottom we have our micro USB charging port. So that's basically everything about this device. And with that being said, I will tell you, if you haven't bought this device, to not buy it. Just because at this price range, I believe what you're paying here for is a stock Android. Nokia does come with stock Android, and it is pretty nice, but right here you're sacrificing too much for just this single thing. And just having something that, well, obviously isn't a stock Android, will give you additional benefits at the same price, like having a better display or battery or performance or cameras, just whatever you name, you can have it better at the same price. So that's why I wouldn't recommend it. Things to mention right here that are pretty low for even at this price range, meaning like low end, would be the battery. It's only a 3000 milliamp hour battery. The charging speed also will be garbage at 5 watts right here. This is just this is worse than what Samsung offers, and Samsung has been notoriously giving a absolutely crappy charging speed on their devices. So that's L number 1, and L number 2 is, I would consider the RAM storage right here. It's stupidly low, like criminally. Even for an Android device, this is, I would consider, a little bit too low to actually comfortably use your device. Cameras, I'm not going to really touch upon cameras right here, just because they are budget, and most of the budget devices won't really take good photos. That's just how it goes, I would argue. So that's typical, let's call it that way. So yeah, I would highly recommend going for other devices, maybe from Realme, Xiaomi, Poco even has some nice, that's still Xiaomi though, but Poco do have some nice, like, cheaper versions of the devices. Might be a little bit more, but believe me, if you pay like 20-30 bucks more, you will get a astronomically better device compared to what you get right here. Obviously it won't have stock Android, but at this point, at this price range, I don't think paying this much for so little in a device and just having the stock Android is worth it. I would prefer to not have it and have a device that performs in almost every way better. That will add, obviously, way more enjoyment to using your device. I don't like to feel like when I have to use my device as a chore, so I like to have it respond to whatever I'm doing. When I want to go home, I don't want to wait 10 seconds before the device goes home. The battery and the charging speeds are just some of the worst right here, and obviously one of the biggest L's right here, considering this device was released in 2023 at the beginning of it. The biggest L is this charger, or the charging port, I guess I should probably call it. So micro USB in 2023 is like a Nokia just showing you a middle finger and telling you F off, you get what you get, which no, just no. Every other device, or I can't really say every other device, but a lot of devices in budget range, like a lot, about arguably 70% of them will come with the Type-C charging port, which is the standard now. And it's going to be a standard that is literally enforced on every manufacturer, I believe, next year. And having a device released this year that comes with this is an insult. This port has been introduced a decade ago. It has been succeeded by a better port half a decade ago, I would argue. And yet some absolute a-holes decide to get rid of their stock by including this shit. So yeah, that's a big L for them. So with that being said, I recommend looking at other devices that just perform better, and also decide to not completely screw you over by including just some garbage that they have in stock because they just want to get rid of it. You shouldn't be needing to pay for someone else's mistake of, I don't know, having a too big of a micro USB stock by them including it in a crappy phone. Just because the phone is budget doesn't mean you need to get shit for it. Like this, no, just if you have any phone that comes with this, just don't consider it at all. Now, with this being said, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.